All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to another very special episode of Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here tonight on this wonderful, amazing Saturday evening. It is Saturday, March 28th, 2026. Wow, this year's going by fast already. And I have another interesting show to present to you folks here tonight regarding an ongoing situation surrounding my channels around here, our channels around here. I'm the president and founder of the GNA, short for Genuine Networking Association. It is a team effort, but pretty much as the president and founder, which is what I'm trying to say, I'm the one that's always dealing with the most scrutiny. That's just the way it goes, right? And if you're new here, you're probably not going to understand the backstory. It involves a lawsuit. I've sued another YouTuber out here in a circuit civil case in Florida. I live in California. He lives in Florida. I have to sue there. Yada, yada, yada. And we have a major dispositive hearing. The motion to dismiss and anti-SLAPP is coming up on April 9th. Less than 2 weeks away. And there's just a lot going on and a lot what the defendant is saying publicly, most of which is either not true or highly exaggerated, taken way out of context. But before we get to all of that, first of all, let me make sure everything's rolling smoothly here. Let me make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Back end of YouTube is rolling well. Let me see here. And let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. It looks like it has. Let me do a sound check. And we have a major dispositive hearing. The motion to dismiss and anti-SLAPP is coming up on April 9th. Less than 2 weeks away. And all right, all is rolling well. I made a promise to my lovely lady Dawn. I'm only going to be on for an hour max. I'm going to try to wrap it up in about 45 minutes. I'm going to stick to that. 1 hour is the maximum. And who's here first? My lovely lady Dawn. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn's in the house. She says, hey, babe. Hello, babe. Welcome to the show. 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out during these live streams for the chatters. On the replay, it won't matter. It's on demand. It'll be on demand. Anyway, the topic of this stream is searching for angles won't help you in court. One more time, the topic of this stream is searching for angles won't help you in court. And that's exactly what I feel the defendant in my circuit civil case continues to do, especially based on what he did on his live stream earlier tonight from a new backup channel, because his main drama channel and his first backup drama channel were both terminated yesterday for violating YouTube's community guidelines. He violated a major community guideline, and that's why his channels were terminated. And he still does not really understand why he was terminated, and he's trying to blame me for it. He's trying to say that I'm going to use this against you in court. He's going to try to say those videos were unlisted. How were they affecting you publicly anyway? Yada, yada, yada. That's all irrelevant. It does not matter. YouTube gives you tools. They give you the copyright match tool, and they give you the likeness detection tool if you sign up for it, which I did on both channels. And it detects those detection systems. The copyright match tool and the likeness detection tool detect not just public videos, but unlisted and private videos. And just because a video is unlisted doesn't mean it's not being shared with anyone, even outside of the court. And it doesn't matter, because what matters is what was in that video. I explained it last night. I'm going to explain it more clearly tonight. I think even the defendant's audience knows why he was terminated, but their hatred for me overrides, a valid reason for doing something or for something happening, right? And I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to fight. That's not worth it, right? Alex the Beer Master, how you doing? Shauna, how you doing? Welcome to the show. So the defendant on his stream from his secondary backup channel, because his main backup channel, along with his main channel on the drama end of things, were terminated yesterday, and YouTube terminated those channels for an impersonation complaint. Now, that is not what I filed. That is what YouTube classified the situation. So, to make it very clear, I did not file impersonation in the standard way. The standard way is if somebody's impersonating your channel, like using your logo or using your channel icon, your banner, stuff like that, then you file that by flagging the video. You select impersonation, and then you put the link of the channel that's impersonating you. Then YouTube compares that, and if it matches, they typically will remove that channel very quickly for terms of service. That's not what happened here. What happened here was this was a synthetic AI issue. And YouTube's been terminating a lot of channels for doing what the defendant Jamie did in these videos. At the same time, he's saying that he's going to use this video in court. Okay. So again, here is what the defendant did in this video. He took a 7 or 8 year privately recorded phone call I had with ODN. Okay. He took that audio. There was no video recorded of that call. That was a private phone call I had with ODN years ago. And we had a brief falling out. And because of that, he released a highly edited, out of context version of that. Okay. But regardless, that's not the point. What happened was it was an audio only recording. The defendant Jamie took that audio only recording and then went and found one of my Walking with Purpose videos and overlaid video from one of my Walking with Purpose videos and then used AI in a synthetic way to match my lips as if I was saying on my walk what I said on that private audio-only phone call that ODN recorded. So, in essence, whoever created that video, I have to assume it was the defendant Jamie. And regardless, if somebody made that for him and he used it, that's his issue. Because that violates YouTube's community guidelines. And if he were to try to use that in court to try to show that I was saying that on my walking stream when I didn't, that was a privately recorded phone call that he tried to depict I was saying on a walking stream. That's why you got shut down, Jamie. And I'm clarifying it right now because I want even your own audience to understand. That's like manufacturing evidence. In my opinion, I'll leave it up to the judge. If you actually submit that and you want to use that in court, that's fine. If you want to try to tell the judge that I'm trying to silence you by asserting my likeness rights and copyrights, do what you got to do. All I'm doing is protecting my content and protecting my likeness, protecting my copyright and protecting my likeness. I have the right to do that. But if you want to present that to Judge Stacy, no problem. That's what happened. I file basically the likeness detection. You click on it, and then it gives you options. You can file an AI synthetic likeness privacy removal request. What happens at that point is they give the uploader 48 hours to delete the videos, or they may remove the video if they find it to be a violation. Okay. Well, what Jamie did is he deleted the videos, but because it was so egregious, he deliberately altered one of my videos to make it appear like a privately recorded video was actually happening from my live stream, when it was actually a privately recorded audio years ago by ODN. That's why you got removed, even though you deleted them. YouTube keeps shadow copies. That's why when you guys simulcast and delete Tammy, Bill, Jamie, anyone else, simulcasting and deleting is not going to save you from platform enforcement, just so you know. And this proves that you can ask Jamie. He deleted once he got those privacy complaints. The likeness system is baked into the privacy complaint system. They added that to the privacy complaint form. But because this was altering the audio of one of my videos, and it wasn't true, that's why they labeled it impersonation complaint. I was confused by that at first when it happened to both of his channels. And that's why I said I knew he was going to probably be removed because of what he did, because YouTube's been shutting down many channels for abusing AI. That's what the defendant did. And he also wants to use that in court. Hey, Lewis, how you doing? He wants to use that in court. Why would you take ODN's recording, Jamie, and try to make it appear like it was coming from one of my walks because you used AI, or whoever created that video used AI to match my lips with ODN's recording? We all know that was an audio-only private recording. Why'd you do that? How are you going to answer Judge Stacy when I question you on that? And here's the thing. None of that information in there is relevant to your case. It doesn't involve you. Here's the thing. It seems like to me the defendant here wants to constantly use privately recorded or private messages where I was venting 7-8 years ago. 7-8 years ago, I used to have a lot of private conversations with people behind the scenes through like one of the messenger programs or on phone calls. And a lot of people would record these. I didn't know it, right? These conversations were private. And people vent in private. Let me ask you this, Jamie. How many times have you vented behind the scenes or through a messenger message to a group, or, you posted something where you vented behind the scenes privately? Everybody vents privately. That doesn't mean they ended up doing what they said that they were going to do or venting frustration off of, right? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that people may have on you that you wouldn't want getting out. Now, I'm not saying it would be admissible, probably not, and I don't care. The point I'm trying to make is that, have you never not vented in private and said some pretty horrible things, and then you calmed down and you never, ever took the action or said the words publicly? What matters is what you say and do publicly, not you venting privately. You're trying to weaponize all of my private stuff to have content and defame me for dollars on YouTube, and now to try to use this, in this court case. You're going to find out. Oh, let's talk about the messages you got at the end that you were saying in the comments section of your live stream that made your night and stuff, where you felt vindicated or something, right? First of all, I don't recall those messages. It's been so long, 7, 8 years ago? I don't recall those messages, and I question their authenticity. And you yourself said that you have never seen these messages. You're the kind of person that has access to everyone in this drama sphere, and people would send you stuff right away. You expect me to believe all of a sudden, out of the blue, there are private messages that appear to be me that I don't recall? How do I not know those aren't AI? Now, here's the thing. Regardless of whether they're AI or not, the bottom line is it doesn't involve you. It doesn't involve you. You're trying to imply or accuse all this stuff regarding JB Gunner and Brianna and Gloria and all these people, but what does that have to do with you? In this case, it's irrelevant. And I was privately venting, and judges understand that. If you want to present it. I got my answers. ODN says, I can testify in court, hey broski, that those videos have been spliced by myself under the direction of Jamie. He keeps trying to portray them as real when I have already admitted the facts. You've also put that in your affidavit, ODN. That's a sworn statement. But here's the thing, ODN and everyone else. It's irrelevant because where's the relevance for him to be using this evidence? I mean, what is it proving for his case? Here's the thing. It's one thing to privately vent. It's another thing to make a public video about something. Say something in a public video. Say something in public. There's a difference between private and public. And Jamie knows it because, the one thing that I did, I showed a home. I shouldn't have done that. I was triggered. I showed it on a live stream for 30 minutes. I deleted it and then I apologized. Jamie brought that up in court for the stalking case. Judge Bowie said, when did that happen? He said 2019. And she goes, it's 2025 because the case happened last year in 2025. Now, sure, even things that are time barred can be used as pattern evidence, but what pattern evidence do you need them for? For stuff that is within the statute. For stuff that's within the statute regarding my causes of action, how is that relevant? I want you to tell me, how is that evidence relevant? It may be relevant to entertain your audience, to continue painting me like a jackass so you can make money, right? But besides that, how is this relevant in court based on what you're being sued on? All of those private messages or privately recorded phone conversations that ended up leaking by other people, all of those are not relevant to your case at all. It's almost like you're trying to paint a picture in the judge and I'm a horrible person like you're doing to the people out here on YouTube, but it doesn't work that way in court. You have to argue the merits of the case or the causes of action. He does not get that. He's doing the same thing to Sarah. I'm going to talk about Sarah in a second. Sarah, if you're watching, I agree, ODN. And I'm glad that you realize that. I'll get to the Sarah thing in a second. He's doing the same thing to Sarah. He's trying to use her as a pawn to go at me, but she's not letting him put the blame on her this time. She stood up for herself. We're going to talk about it. She does not want to perjure herself, ODN, and that's the right thing. And I respect that, Sarah. We'll get to you in just a little bit. The bottom line is, Jamie, in my opinion, is trying to get people to perjure themselves to try to get out of this case or win this case, right? And people are standing up and saying, well, that's not what happened. I'm not necessarily taking Eli's side on things, but that's not what happened. The truth is the truth. It speaks for itself, right? Or at least it should. What he's doing is showing that you had his group stalking you for years and you were tired of it. That's all he's doing by showing those. Right. Lewis says, that's what's wrong with people these days. They can't let things go. They have to bring up the past. That's because when you're suing them, Lewis, and there's nothing currently they can use to try to defend their case, then they go in the past and dig up stuff that was meant to be private, where those things never happened publicly. Those actions were never taken. It's called venting. But anyway, if he wants to bring those up, that's on him. That's on him. Yeah, let's talk about Sarah for a second. Sarah, I really truly appreciate your posting from yesterday. I did share it on my community wall. I'm sure you know that by now, and I'm sure you're not going to respond. You don't have to. I understand that you're trying to stay, away from this, neutral. You're doing the right thing. And I really appreciate you correcting the record properly regarding what happened with the JB Gunner Anna situation and what I actually did pay you for. Now, Sarah did mention that I paid her for administrative work. That is true. That was part of it. The other part of it was that she was getting a restraining order on JB because JB was massively harassing her and myself at the same time. And her and I were already friends back then. And Barbara, in the chat, you were saying, just like Jamie can't get a stalking order for his mom, Sarah can't get one on you for JB. You're right about that, Barbara, but you don't understand. Sarah did list my name as a person that was being harassed as a third party. I have that somewhere. I can dig it up and find it. I'm sure I could probably publicly still get it. It does show my name on there. She added me on to the filing. That doesn't mean I was a party to the case, Barbara, or anyone else. I was not a party to the case. But she did put my name on there, and I was supporting her because all we wanted was for JB to stop. Okay? And yes, Sarah is right. I believe it was Shangy that made that CPS call regarding Anna and her kids. Okay? That had nothing to do with myself or Sarah. Okay? I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Shangy did go public on that back then. Okay? So, Sarah corrected the record. And honestly, Sarah, despite anything in the past, I honestly, sincerely appreciate that. Because to me, it makes a statement saying, look, you don't want any problems. Yeah, some things happened years ago, in the Legion, whatever, right? And whatever your role was, you've stepped away from it and you're no longer doing any of that. And you've shown a lot of good faith. And I appreciate that. I do. But now, because in my opinion, Jamie may, and I say it as my opinion, in my opinion, I think Jamie's trying to manufacture evidence. Put a 1 in the chat if, in your opinion as well, you feel that Jamie's trying to manufacture evidence, because I think he tried to manufacture evidence with that ODN video where he tried to overlay my walking video and make it seem like I was saying that on my walking video instead of, the private ODN call. So in essence, Jamie's upset because you won't lie and perjure yourself, because he needs whatever he can get to try to get this case dismissed. That's not the way it works, man. Do you not think you're not going to get called out on this? Do you not think that people, even on your end, that don't like me are going to understand what I'm saying? They may still like you more than me. And even if they know you're lying, they're still going to support you and pay you, which I don't really understand that, but that's their choice. But they know the truth, man. Everybody knows the truth. And tonight, Sarah standing up for herself, and then she left. God bless you, Sarah. Then you left. You said, I'm going to Nikki's. Hey, I would have done the same thing, and I've done the same thing. You felt unappreciated. You felt disrespected. And here's the thing, Sarah. I've said this for a long time now, and people used to get mad at me on my end. But I think they understand a little more now. Lewis 1, ODN 1. Thank you, guys. You have helped Jamie out more than anyone. Sarah, you have helped him out more than anyone. When you became his friend 5.5 years ago, whenever that was, right? And that's when I had to step away because it was a conflict of interest, right? That was the only reason I stepped away. It was a conflict of interest. You know it was. You helped him out. You saved his sinking ship. I'm giving you credit because that's the truth. And I don't hate you, Sarah. I don't hate anyone. I'm just saying this doesn't matter. You're saying the same thing. It doesn't matter whether we have hate or like for each other, right? Whatever, right? And I'm not going to challenge that. This is about what the right thing is. You did so much for him. You took your experience from your Hollywood days and wow, did he just run with it? And then for him to treat you the way he treated you tonight because he needs you to perjure yourself in court that you're not willing to do to save his ass, God bless you. I'm going to give you a big round of applause, Sarah. Big round of applause. I'm sitting there, I'm screen recording all this, I'm watching it in real time. And I'm like, wow. And he was getting triggered. Like he was getting triggered. People are saying, what are you flipping this and that? No. People mishear things all the time. And you got to understand, the way that Jamie works is the first time he hears something, even if other people like Sarah correct it, he goes with the original story because that's what's worked for him and his audience, right? And it's more damning, right? I'm sure, and Sarah has corrected this record many times in the past. She has. And Jamie knows it, but it doesn't suit his narrative right now, less than 2 weeks away from a major hearing. That's what that all boils down to. That's what that all boils down to. Let me make sure the sound's still good. He was getting triggered. people are saying, what are you flipping this and that? No. People mishear things all the time. Boy, was he triggered. He was saying that I'm triggered. No, he's triggered. I'm all good, man. I'm just passionate. You know, I always say that I'm just passionate, right? And she gets the least credit. Even ODN is giving you credit. That has to mean something. Right. You do the most work, Sarah, and you get the least credit and you get shitted on for being honest. That speaks mountains to me, right? He's a spoiled brat, Sarah. He hasn't grown up at age 40. He hasn't learned responsibility. Everything I've said for years is true. And I think more and more people are beginning to see that. And if people still want to be his friends, support him, whatever. Just don't put up with the BS. Don't let him manipulate you into doing things that could create serious issues. When it comes to court, you can't let someone like that try to shame you or convince you to perjure yourself to try to give him an edge in the case against me, which it wouldn't give him an edge anyway. It'd be obvious. I'd call it out because I know the truth. You sound pretty good on my end. Well, thank you, Lewis. It's a $400 microphone, Lewis, the Shure SM7B. I've had this thing for like 3-4 years now. I love this mic. I love this mic. And then Don on the podcast has the SM58. It's one of the best stage mics you can use, but it's great for podcasting too. ODN TV says, it's crazy. He would even ask her to do that when I have the proof. It's like he truly does not care if she gets in legal trouble. He wants her to lie for him and risk herself. He wants everyone to lie for him. It's like this guy wants everyone to perjure themselves so he can have a shot of winning this case, right? This is my opinion, James. I'm not accusing you of perjury. I'm saying this is what any reasonable person, that saw what happened would assume. It's an assumption. I'm not stating it as a fact. I'm saying it's my opinion that I think you're trying to get people to perjure themselves for your benefit. That's sad that he hasn't grown up yet. Yeah, the F. Yeah, Lewis. I hear you, man. I've been saying that for years. I've known this guy since he was 31, 32. He's 40 now. I figured by the time he hit 40, he'd grow up, but he hasn't, right? So that is that. Thank you again for doing the right thing, Sarah, for whatever reason, to clear your conscience. Maybe you understand what's going on. I think you do. I think you're just trying to stay neutral and not cause any issues for anyone. And I can understand that. I totally understand that position. But you handle yourself really well. And I'm proud of you. Today, I'm proud of you. I'm not saying I haven't been proud of you in the past, but I'm really proud of this moment, and I wanted to put it out there. Thank you. And if he's acting like a spoiled brat and doing all this garbage like a kid, to be honest with you, I hope he's toilet trained or potty trained. Lewis, man. Wow, Lewis, man. You crack me up, man. You crack me up. So I only have a few more things to talk about. We are at 34 minutes. Yeah. You know what? Let me do this. Let me take a really quick break here. Because when I talk passionately, I get tired easily. It's been a long day. So I'm going to take a break. And I really want to emphasize there's two more very important things I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to take a quick break, even though we're only at 35 minutes. It's just going to be, maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes. Okay, give me a second here. All right, music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for a few minutes, and I'll see you all on the flip side. We're going to go maybe another 20, 25 minutes when I get back. Stick around. We'll be right back. right, we are back live. We are back live. Give me a second. Let me get my chair in the right position. All right, we're back. We're back. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Gonna have a brief second part of the show here. Hope you've all had a great day. Lots going on. Missed the first part of the show. Go back and check out the replay. It's only going to be about an hour or so. Not much longer. Anyway, before we get back to it, let me check out the chat real quick. Yeah. Yep. Grow the heck up. Act like an adult. You're right, Lewis. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let me make sure the audio is going out well. All right. All right, let's get right to it. A few more things. The first thing I want to talk about is the parody video that he put out today. Not original. Used copyrighted material. But I'm not even going to get into that. Let's get into the two parts or three parts of it. Okay. First of all, in the parody video, he has a caricature of the the Honorable Judge Susan Stacy. He's depicting the judge in there, which he can do that as long as he doesn't cross the line. As long as he doesn't cross the line, which I believe he did. I'll explain why in a second. He had a caricature of me. He had a caricature of him. And I guess apparently the caricature that I believe looks more like R.J. Sandifer is actually Bill. Okay. One of his friends, Bill, that runs the Brutally Honest channel, right? Now, at the beginning of the parody, he has the caricature of Judge Stacy say my last name, Mr. Melas, and his last name, which I'm not going to mention, even though he did mention it in his parody. And it was him singing in the courtroom, basically, looking forward to the case ending and being on the beach with his girlfriend, internet girlfriend, I don't know, whatever, right? Now, there were two parts in there. And I will be filing this. I will be filing it. I'm just going to come out and say it. It doesn't matter. There has to be a reason to file this. I wouldn't file the first part or the second part I'm going to mention here if it wasn't for the first part. Basically, he did, defame me again, saying that I embezzled. My name is a part of the parody. My actual legal last name, my caricature it's me. He mentions his last name, the caricature of Judge Stacy, right? But here's the thing. He mentioned every part of the parody on his stream except the one part. The one part where Judge Stacy threw a football in my face and knocked me down. He depicted the judge getting violent with me in this parody. That's a big no-no. I've downloaded it. I've taken screenshots. I've got my exhibits already ready. I don't understand what this guy's thought process is. When the judge sees that he depicted her in parody, which he can do parody as long as he doesn't cross the line. He did. He depicted the judge getting violent and throwing a football at me and knocking me down. This guy must have been really, really triggered to do something like that. That's got to be probably one of the dumbest things I feel he's done so far. Why aren't you mentioning those things, sir? Why didn't you mention that on your stream? Do you only mention things that favor you and not mention things that you do that would not be seen in a good light? Let's put it that way, right? I mean, go to his, if you know where to find his channel that he's on right now, go there and watch this thing, okay? He also mentioned he's going to re-upload the I Believe You Embezzled parody video. Whatever he does, we'll handle that with the court. But anyway, parody was short. People paid $1,000 for that. His audience paid $1,000 for a short 3-4 minute parody that was just him singing one defamatory line, the embezzlement thing, and Judge Stacy throwing a football in my face, where she would never ever do that. And then he had Judge Stacy use the gavel, which judges don't really use the gavels much anymore, and many of them don't even have a gavel on their desk. But he took the gavel. He also used the Law and Order dun-dun, the dun-dun. He used that to make it seem more dramatic, right? All that stuff is copyrighted, right? He doesn't care. This guy does not care about copyright. He thinks copyright is absolute. He thinks that he has, a license to use everyone's copyright freely, right? That's how this guy is, right? Yeah. Please don't come in here and ask what is this show about when you're trolling, okay? I mean, let me see, who is that? Yeah. Have a nice day. The last thing I want to talk about is this. We are at 50 minutes. Oh, we're going to end right at the hour mark. This is the second worst thing. It would have been the first worst thing he did today, but nothing is worse than depicting the judge in a negative light, especially depicting the judge being violent with the plaintiff in the case because he's the defendant. Let me go to my notes regarding this. This guy made some serious threats to me on his stream earlier today. Direct threats. He said, and I quote, this is what he said, I quote, paraphrase, okay? He said that he says that I need to have my ass beat. Okay. And then he furthermore says it's time for me to have my ass beat. And then he says that he thinks it is time for a beatdown. And then he asked me the question to let him know if I would like to receive a beatdown. Wow. Wow. And then he ends his threatening, very directly threatening rant and says that he would happily engage in that capacity. I'm not interested in engaging in violence with you or anyone, sir. That also is not going to look too well for you, right? Why would you directly threaten me on your live stream? And if you try to say that's rhetorical hyperbole, I'm going to say bullshit. It's not. I mean, seriously, that is stuff that could get your stream taken down or worse based on your, repeat activity of violating the terms of service. Why would you talk like that on a public live stream? Now, I can understand you saying that privately. I could understand in a private message or in the privacy of your own home or amongst your friends in private saying that. But saying that publicly is a completely different thing, especially publishing it on a platform like YouTube. Sir, that wasn't the smartest thing to do. ODN TV says that's one of Jamie's accounts. He bought that account. He's super triggered right now. Oh, he's absolutely extremely triggered, and he's trying to flip it and say that I'm triggered. We are at 54 minutes. Why would you say those things? Is that how you really feel? Do you really feel like you want to harm me? Are you that upset that I'm standing up for my civil rights that I feel you violated? And I've gone to court to resolve this issue that I've tried to resolve with you out of court for the last 6-7 years. And every time I've tried to resolve it with you, you've told me to shove it up my ass and you've given me the bird. The middle finger, the bird to be specific, not a bird like I heard ODN has a bird named after me. That's pretty funny, man. Don told me about that. I think you told me about that too. Did you have a bird named after Lauren as well? Give me a second. These people keep spinning things out of context. Spin whatever you want out of context. The only thing that matters is what happens in court. And this Monday, we're going to know if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing before the April 9th, 2020 hearing, the motion to dismiss Annie Slapp, or if there's going to be an expedited hearing or if Judge Stacy will just make a ruling on the papers and say, hey, lighten up the docket activity, or if there will be a continuance. I would prefer there not be a continuance, as long as, no unexpected, unreasonable, time-wasting motions pop up on the docket, or no more, non-party docket activity where they do not have, leave of court to intervene in the case. And if they're going to try to accuse me, like Patty's trying to accuse me, of harassment and this and that, yet she tried to get a stalking order on me last year and failed to appear, and then says I had a doctor's appointment. You could have refiled, Patty. Why didn't you refile? Why don't you refile now? Why have none of you refiled? Because you're not going to get an order on me. You're going to try to use the same exact evidence that you all try to use, like 7-8 year old private recorded phone calls, private messages that people somehow for some reason leaked out, and I was venting. And yes, Tammy, I am venting. And if you want to sit there and post about me all day, every day on your community wall, and then you've got this website where you're putting stuff out there, nobody cares about that, Tammy. Nobody cares about that. I'll address it because I'm not afraid to address it. I just think it's really a waste of time, right? I did have a bird named after Lauren, says ODN Lewis. And also the bird finger, which is the middle finger. It is the sign language for the F word. That's great. Lewis, I'm going to give you a big round of applause for that. I just felt like giving you a big round of applause because you spelled it out very clearly. Yeah. ODN TV. And I do have a bird named after you. Well, thank you, broski. Eli Bird. We're at 59 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up. I don't have a whole lot more to say. There's a lot of noise going on. The defendant's going to continue to make noise. He's going to continue to try to lead you folks to believe I'm something that I'm not. He's going to continue to try to use 6, 7, 8+ year old private material that I said privately, either on a phone call or in a private message. And you know what? None of that matters. It's not relevant to the case. It's not even relevant to pattern evidence. He has to attach it to something. If he even wants to use time-barred evidence, he has to be able to attach it to something that's presently being pleaded in the case. And he can't do that. How are you going to do that? Do you just want to try to embarrass me in front of the judge? Because if you try to do that with this material, don't you think Judge Stacy's going to see you're trying to embarrass me and not only waste my time, but the court's time? I know sign language. I learned it in high school. Oh, wonderful, Lewis. Venting is not against the law. Everybody does it. You're right. But Jamie thinks if I say something in private and didn't act on it, that I've broken the law or I'm a bad person, or he's trying to say that I employ criminals. I don't employ criminals. I haven't employed anyone. And yet, at the same time, None of my volunteers currently are dealing with anything like that, so it doesn't matter. And you said it broadly. You said in general that I employ criminals to do my dirty work for me. What dirty work have I had any one of them do? Can you specifically state the dirty work I've had a criminal do? If I collaborate with people, that's not employing criminals to do my dirty work for me. What dirty work have I specifically employed a criminal to do for me? Can you say that? Because that's what I'm going to ask you in court. I'm going to ask you, what dirty work have I specifically employed a criminal to do for me? If other people have made videos and stuff, like sarcastic, rhetorical videos that are parody or stating opinions or whatever, that's not employing criminals to do my dirty work. You've taken all of these private things that didn't even involve you and have made me the content, and you've made me the content engine of your success out here, in my opinion. And I'm done being painted based on what I've said privately, venting, when I never took any of those actions. We're all human. We've all said things that we don't mean. We've all gotten really triggered off the record. Every single one of us. None of you are clean from this. No human being is perfect. We all vent and we all say things privately out of frustration. We do that so we don't make the mistake by doing it publicly, right? But you want to chastise me for that, right? ODN TV, he just makes things up. He literally said that you were trying to hire a hitman for JB Gunner. That never happened at all. I never ever hired a hitman for JB Gunner. I think that might have been a joke or something that was said behind the scenes, but I never hired a hitman. I never hired. That's funny stuff, man. And here's the thing. That didn't happen. But regardless, how is that relevant to your case, Jamie? How is any of this stuff I've said privately, or even if I've said any of this publicly, just for an example, how is this relevant to the causes of action in this case? And that also includes your motion to dismiss and the anti-slap. How is any of this relevant? Are you just trying to paint me in a bad light? Are you trying to character assassinate me in front of the judge, thinking that's going to give you a better chance of defeating my causes of action? Because that would be the only reasonable thing I could think of why you're doing this. ODN TV says he takes things that people have said and then he shows them and turns it into something completely different. Do you remember, Jamie, when you recorded our first conversation and you put that call publicly on YouTube? You've done that to me. I've never done that to you. So let's talk about this, Jamie. If you want me to go back into the archive and dig things up, first of all, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to look stupid in front of Judge Stacy and the court, which she is the court in her courtroom. Okay? But you remember you recorded me, and when all of a sudden you needed content, or you got mad at me for disagreeing with you on something. I can't remember what it was. It's been such a long time. I can't recall it exactly. It's been a while. You put that out there publicly. You put that out there. And guess what? Guess what, Jamie? It's time barred now. I could have sued you back then. You are in a two-party recording state, and so am I. You illegally recorded me without my permission. You didn't tell me, and then you put it out there publicly. So if you're going to talk about things that you've done, if you're going to talk about things that I've done privately, and you're going to dig that far back, I can dig that far back. The only thing that's relevant that far back for me, for the most part, is the predator thing, in those videos with Blake and with Clorox. Why? It basically ties into my defamation case and the emotional distress. That's it. I'm not seeking relief off of that because it's time barred. I can't seek relief for anything that's time barred. I can seek relief for things that are within the statute of limitations. Anything before that can be used as pattern evidence if it has relevance to your current claims that are within the statute of limitations. You clearly either don't understand how this case works, which I think you need an attorney, or you're just playing it off, or you really have no defense and you're just trying whatever you can. You're trying to throw a Hail Mary. The dude is a professional gaslighter. I would agree. He is absolutely a world-class gaslighter. All right. 1 hour and 9 minutes. I really got to go. I want to spend some time with my lady, eat some dinner, watch some shows. Don and I will be recording episode number 54 of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast tomorrow. I'll share more if I walk tomorrow. If not, I'll walk Monday. And I'll share with you more what's coming up on the next podcast that we record tomorrow that'll be released this coming Wednesday. And I'll keep you up to date. If I look at the clock here, or if I look at the calendar, 12 days away from the April 9th hearing. Tomorrow it'll be 11 days away. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'll say this on my way out. Regardless of what happens on YouTube, regardless of how the defendant or anyone else presents things out of context or whatever, there's only one thing that will ever prevail. And you all know what that is. That is the truth. The truth will always prevail. But Jamie, take this one into consideration on my way out. The truth is something that will also set you free. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.